Welcome back to the best division in football with your boys Awthentik and The Beard, the best television show not on TV. Glad to be back here talking some football with y'all, although my team is absolutely in struggle mode. We got all 4 NFC East teams at home this week. They were all on the road this past week, all at home this week. 10 games in the 1 p.m. window on Sunday. We got one Saturday night game, which is going to be a fantastic game between the Dallas Cowboys and the Detroit Lions. Definitely looking forward to that matchup. Shout out to everybody who's been supporting us on Bleacher Report, man, showing up for those streams and whatnot, man. Y'all know how that goes over there, man. That's a tough crowd over there, but we've been rocking. We've been holding it down for Awthentik and The Beard over there. Y'all know what it is, man. Appreciate everybody pulling up tonight. We got 5 games to go over, so we got to kind of fly through stuff tonight. So without further ado, let me bring in the strong side to the left side duo. My brother from another mother. Shout out to my Dukes one time. My guy, The Beard, is in the building. How you living, brother?
I'm getting ready, because apparently I am the starting quarterback for some team in the National Football League this week.
I don't think it's your Commanders, man. Jacoby Brissett, my guy Jacoby Brissett, man. Guy out here showing out one time, but y'all got a tough matchup, man. Welcoming the 49ers. That's going to be a tough one for y'all.
It's going to be brutal, but, there's a lot of crazy news going on, obviously with all these different quarterbacks being moved around from the starting roles to backup roles. Obviously, the biggest news in the football world this week is the Russell Wilson news. Kind of crazy situation, how that's all going down. Be interesting, just adding another team to the mix in the quarterback hunt moving forward in this offseason.
They mentioned y'all and they mentioned us as, potential candidates for Russell Wilson. And I'm like, man, unless we draft a rookie and do that, I'm likely, on the outside of that one time. I would have done it 2 years ago.
I'm in the exact same situation as you are when it comes to that. So it's going to be interesting. Obviously, I'm a little pumped up. Tomorrow, my Notre Dame Fighting Irish play in their bowl game, so I'm excited to see that. Obviously, a lot of players won't be playing in that game due to not trying to get injured before the draft. But nonetheless, college football playoffs this weekend, too. And then, obviously, we got a lot of teams that can clinch playoff spots in the National Football League or can be eliminated this weekend. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We got a lot of games to go through today, as Awthentik said. Big shout out to each and every one of you in the chat across all the platforms. That is Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and, of course, right here on YouTube. Can't thank you guys enough. Appreciate all the love and all the support. It's week 17, man. We got one more week after this, and then it's playoffs.
Yeah, playoffs and then draft. Get ready for that draft, man. That's what I'm really looking forward to. I'm not even looking forward to the playoffs that much. A couple NFC East teams in the mix and whatnot, but like with my team not there, it's just not the same.
Well, I'm used to it, so.
Yeah, I can't say the same after 2022 for the New York Giants. But let's get right to it. We got a couple of games to go over tonight, man. It's going to be a jam-packed show. Appreciate all y'all pulling up bright and early, man. I saw the homie Juan was in the chat asking for some fantasy advice and whatnot. He had Jacoby Brissett in that mix as well. But let's get right to it, man. We're going to talk about this. The Arizona Cardinals are going to be taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. All right, y'all. This one is Sunday at 1 p.m., just like damn near every other game this week. The Cardinals are sitting at 3-11. Philadelphia Eagles, a lot of people are, concerned, myself included, but they're sitting at 11-4 here. Opening lines got the Eagles by 10.5. The last meeting, the Eagles beat the Cardinals 20-17. That was just last year. That was in Arizona. This one's going to be in Philly this week. Last week, the Cardinals lost to the Bears 27-16. The Eagles beat my New York Giants, unfortunately, 33-25. Now, the Cardinals' 58 regular season victories against Philadelphia are their most against any team. This rivalry dates all the way back to 1935. That's before my mama was up in this month. The Eagles are tied with the Lions and the 49ers for the best record in the NFC right now. The Eagles have clinched a playoff berth, but the Eagles are pushing for that number 1 seed and a bye. The Eagles can clinch a second consecutive division title with a win and a Cowboys loss to the Lions. That scenario would make the Philadelphia Eagles the first back-to-back NFC East winner since
New York Giants?
I was looking for a year here. That's going to be an ineligible answer there.
The New York Giants?
Since 2004. That's the last time the NFC East had a team win back-to-back division titles. Philly won 4 straight division titles from 2001 to 2004. They can fall all the way down to the 5th seed. That's what's so wild about this if they don't lock up the NFC East or lock up that number 1 seed. This is a revenge game for Jonathan Gannon, who was defensive coordinator from 21 to 22 for the Philadelphia Eagles. He helped that defense set a franchise record with an NFL-leading 70 sacks. It was just completely unexpected. I never expected a team to get 70 sacks, but the Eagles did do that. The Cardinals have allowed the second most touchdowns in the NFL, right next to your Commanders. They've allowed 48 touchdowns on the year. The Eagles' 8th overall offense versus the Cardinals' 27th ranked defense. This should be pretty fun. Over the last 3 games, the Cardinals have the worst rush defense in the entire NFL. They're allowing 174 rushing yards per game. Now, Jalen Hurts, we talked about this last show. He's got a lot of pressure on him, with the way that offense is being ran over there. I gave y'all some good nuggets that I saw from the homie Brett Coleman on his channel, why the Philadelphia Eagles offense has been struggling a lot this year. Jalen Hurts on the year, though, has put together a pretty decent year, 3,636 yards, 20 touchdowns through the air. The 13 interceptions is definitely alarming. 4 fumbles lost as well. He's got 35 total touchdowns this season. He has 41 rushing touchdowns in 3 full seasons. Goes to show you what that guy's doing on the ground. And Hurts tied Randall Cunningham's franchise record last week with the 35 combined touchdowns on the year. He's trying to push for an NFL record here, but also has the 4th most interceptions in the entire league right now with that 13. But, he's got the 2 guys on the outside. The Beard talked about this, on multiple shows here early on in the season and last year about the Philadelphia Eagles possibly bringing in a 3rd weapon in the passing attack. And I definitely think they need that. As far as this year for Jalen Hurts, 3,636 yards, which some would say is kind of like struggle mode for the kind of weapons that he has over there. Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown both cracked 1,000 yards for the 2nd straight season again. So, it goes to show you that they're not getting a lot of productivity from the other wide receivers on that roster. I know Quez Watkins was on IR for a little bit this year, and outside of that, they really don't got a good wide receiver for the slot position. That's where I think they need to address either in the draft or somewhere in free agency here. A.J. Brown, he had 6 passes caught last week for 80 yards. He started off extremely slow. He only had 1 reception in the first half. Appeared extremely frustrated in that game throughout the game. Refused to speak to the reporters after the game, so it kind of goes to show you that something's going on with them. I don't know if it's a chemistry thing or, just a little bit of beef between him and Jalen Hurts. I did talk about how I liked how Jalen Hurts handled that last show by saying, "That's on me. I got you. My bad." I don't want to spend too much time on this one. I'm rooting for the Cardinals, obviously, for draft implications here. And, I do think with the Philadelphia Eagles, this is going to fall down to the players, especially on the offense. Their coaching staff is not going to bail them out here. We talked about the no hot route situation that they've had here for multiple seasons. I saw a couple more people. Shout out to Honest NFL on Twitter, a great account to follow. He was talking about it as well. No hot route concepts for the Philadelphia Eagles. Very basic offensive philosophy and a bad defense. So I think that you got to put this all on Jalen Hurts here. If if the job doesn't get done, blame Jalen Hurts. If the job gets done, then give the credit to the weapons and, not to Jalen Hurts, right? That's how it goes. But, Beard, how you feeling about this game? Who do you think is going to take this one? I'm leaning heavy towards the Philadelphia Eagles, obviously.
I mean, for me, as a former, standout tight end here in, not here, but, not too far away from here in the great county of Montgomery, I'm going to be looking at the tight ends in this game. Listen, if you guys are new here, I've been talking about Trey McBride for quite some time now, and he has really blossomed to the effect where, they decided to just have him in that role full time and move on from Zach Ertz. But also Dallas Goedert. We talked about the 3rd weapon for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's going to have to be that. You can kind of look at DeAndre Swift and that whole platoon of running backs as a collective weapon, because all 3 of those running backs are good at catching the ball at the backfield, whether it's Boston Scott, Kenneth Gainwell, or DeAndre Swift. But I think Goddard's going to have to be the one to really step up. So I'm really looking at both of the tight ends in this game, seeing how they perform. Obviously, Kyler Murray is kind of on the fence right now as far as playing goes. Most likely, I would imagine he plays. A lot of time when these guys are out with illnesses, they usually end up playing even if they don't practice all week. But he didn't not only just miss practice on Wednesday, he wasn't even there. But he was back at practice today, but did not participate in the practice. So definitely going to keep my eye on Kyler Murray. You mentioned the Commanders and the Cardinals being very close to certain situations. One of those being the amount of points allowed per game. Arizona allows the 2nd most points behind Washington per game at 26.9. So I think for me, I wrote down on my notes Philly fine-tune and then ramp up, okay? Because I think that they probably have one of the easier remaining schedules this last 2 weeks of all the teams that are fighting for either a playoff spot or in this particular situation, the number 1 seed. I mean, Dallas has a rough game this week. Detroit has a rough game this week. San Francisco's got a pretty easy game this week against the Commanders. But I just think that, fine-tuning some of the things that they're doing, which is I think has a lot to do with, putting themselves in situations to fail on the field and then turning the ball over and stuff like that. So fine-tune those and then put the pedal to the metal. That's what you got to do here against the Arizona Cardinals. Don't kind of coast through this. Maybe fine-tune. That's why I put fine-tune, then ramp up. Maybe fine-tune it early on, but when it gets into the second half, like Philadelphia has to show that they're a top-tier team. And not just necessarily to us or the fans or the critics, but to themselves. I think that's what's really important, to remind themselves what they're capable of moving forward in the playoffs. I do think that they'll win this game. I don't know if they're going to necessarily get to, that full ramp up that I'm talking about, where they're going to get over like 30 points. But I do think they're going to get really close to it. I do have Philadelphia winning this game by a final score of 27-13.
It's a pretty safe score right there. The Arizona Cardinals, you saw them against the San Francisco 49ers recently, and they put up some points. I do think that they're going to be able to score on this Philly defense. That pass defense has absolutely struggled this year. Getting after the quarterback has been a problem, and Kyler Murray is definitely the kind of quarterback that can escape from pressure. I'm going to go a little bit closer. I don't think the Eagles get back on track the way that we've expected them to do so the last couple of weeks. You've seen them in games where they have early leads at the half. I forget what it was about 2 weeks ago. 2 or 3 weeks ago, they had lost a game where they were up by 10 at the half, and they're allowing teams to get back in these games in the second half. They allowed that with the New York Giants. I think the Cardinals are going to be able to hang around in this game a little bit. Ultimately, I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles by 10. I'm going to go 30-20 in favor of the Philadelphia Eagles.
I will give you one person who's definitely not going to take the Eagles. Want to take a guess who that might be?
Tudo
with the $9.99 super chat. Says, massive salute and respects to Awthentik in the Beard. From strong side to left side, roadmaps architect, gold nugget volts, cowards falling down and can't get up, and Spike says, don't care. And we also
Spike
say,
don't care.
Forget about it. Is that a fist pump still? Yeah, it is. Fist pump Italy.
The eyes getting worse.
Well,
Each week, the eyes getting worse.
It's because the color of the banner and
Right.
the fist, kind of blended in. And I didn't want to misrepresent, the emoji for my guy Tudo. So big shout
Tudo
out
flexed
Tudo.
with the $9.99 super chat one time. Big shout out to Tudo, man. We appreciate that, fam.
Appreciate you, brother.
All right, let's keep it pushing, man. Let's get right to it. We got the Dallas Cowboys welcoming the Detroit Lions to Jerry World. All right, I got to prepare y'all for this. This is definitely going to be a long-winded segment. I got a bunch of nuggets for the Dallas Cowboys. Shout out to the fam one time in the building. I got a lot of records that are on the line in this game as well. The Detroit Lions are sitting at 11-4. They already clinched the division. The Dallas Cowboys sitting at 10-5. Kickoff is Saturday at 8:15 p.m. on ABC and ESPN. The Cowboys are favored by 6. Highest over-under total of the year right now at 53.5. Last meeting, the Cowboys beat the Lions 24-6 last season. Last week, the Lions beat the Vikings 30-24. The Cowboys lost to the Miami Dolphins 22-20. Cowboys coming off of back-to-back losses for the first time all year. The Cowboys are going for their 5th straight win against the Detroit Lions. This is the last home game of the season for the Dallas Cowboys, and they've won 15 straight games at home, dating all the way back to week 2 of last season. Now, with a win, the Cowboys can join the Patriots as the only team since 2000 to win at least 16 consecutive regular season home games. The Cowboys have not gone 8-0 at home since 1981. They did do it in back-to-back seasons, 1980 and 1981. Dallas right now is averaging an NFL best 30.9 points per game. That might be 39 points per game. Only 2 other teams in the history of the NFL have averaged more points at home than the Dallas Cowboys. It was the New Orleans Saints and the Green Bay Packers. That Green Bay Packers team was coached by Mike McCarthy. Big shout out to Mike McCarthy one time. The Cowboys have scored 279 points at home this year. They have over 30 points in every one of their home games this year. They can become the first team ever to score 30 points or more in every home game in a single season. That has never been done ever. Spike absolutely cares about that one right there. We know the Lions clinched their first division title since 1993. I was 10, the Beard was 9. That's way back in the day. The Lions started off last season 1-5. Their 5th loss of last season came to the Dallas Cowboys. Since then, they're 19-7. This is going to be a great matchup between these two teams. The Lions have not lost consecutive games all year. They haven't gone a whole season without consecutive losses since 1972. So this is a very, very, very even matchup of two high-powered, extremely high-powered offenses. The Lions' offense is top 5 in all categories. Overall, rushing, pass, and scoring, they're top 5. Now, for me, the biggest matchup is who's going to be able to run the ball effectively. Tony Pollard has not had the year that Dallas Cowboys fans have wanted Tony Pollard to have. Tony Pollard has just 2 games where he rushed over 75 yards. That's not a good look. He's got just 1 game over 100 yards. Now, when you look at the Lions running back situation, they've been eating with running back by committee all year. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, both over 850 yards on the year. Gibbs has 872 yards, 5.7 yards per carry. Montgomery has 910, 4.7 yards per carry. Gibbs has 11 total touchdowns, 10 rushing touchdowns. He's got at least 50 scrimmage yards in 13 consecutive games. He's the first Lions running back to do that since 2009. Now, the Lions have averaged 173 rushing yards in the past 8 games. So the rushing advantage goes to the Detroit Lions, 100% right now. Now, with Gibbs and Laporta, they're the first rookies on the same team to each have at least 9 touchdowns. These Nuggets I'm about to roll off right here, bro.
Crazy right
now. They're going to be absolutely lit. You think I already laid the blazing trail already? These Nuggets are about to really, really get dipped into the barbecue sauce.
Spicy nuggets.
These are the hot and spicy nuggets right here. We got extra barbecue sauce, all of that on the side, okay? So Gibbs and Laporta, first rookies on the same team to produce at least 9 touchdowns each, right? Laporta has 9 touchdowns on the year. He's got 74 receptions for 776 yards. Those are veteran-like numbers right there, right? Those are what you see from upper echelon tight ends in this league. With his next reception, Laporta will pass Jeremy Shockey for the second most receptions by a rookie tight end in NFL history at 75. And, oh, yeah, David Montgomery, he has 11 touchdowns on the year. So if Laporta scores another touchdown, the Lions will be the first team ever to have 3 players score 10 touchdowns or more in a single season, all in their first year on the same team. So they are definitely pushing some history here. Both of these quarterbacks are high-level quarterbacks. Dak Prescott last week coming off 20 for 32 for 253 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks in a loss with a quarterback rating just under 60. Jared Goff coming off his game last week, 30 of 40 for 257, 1 touchdown, no interception, a QBR of 75 out of 100. Both of them on the year are damn near identical. Jared Goff got 3,984 yards, 67 completion percentage, 27 touchdowns, 10 picks, 2 rushing touchdowns. You can't forget about the rushing touchdowns. I know all you Giants fans out there, right? You can't forget about those. Dak Prescott, 3,892 yards, 68.4 completion percentage. He's got 30 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 2 rushing touchdowns. We can't forget about the rushing touchdowns. Prescott has 9 games with at least 2 passing touchdowns this year. Jared Goff is 1 game behind him with 8 games where he has multiple passing touchdowns. The QB advantage, I got to say, barely goes to the Dallas Cowboys. I got to say just barely, right? Just barely. Now, wide receivers. We got 2 wide receiver ones in this matchup. Both these dudes been on fire, right? CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, right? Both top 10 wide receivers in the league. I don't care what the dude was trying to tell me on Twitter last year that Amon-Ra St. Brown is not a top 40 wide receiver in this league. And Entertainer, I saw you in that thread. You was kind of trying to say that was facts. We know that's not facts now. Amon-Ra St. Brown already cracked 1,000 yards on the year. He's got 1,281, 8 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb, 1,424 yards, 9 touchdowns. Lamb is averaging 104 yards, and he has 7 touchdowns in 7 home games this year. So he's pretty much averaging a buck and a tutty every game. I got to say that the wide receiver advantage goes to the Dallas Cowboys. The difference here, right? Now, I talked about the tight end, right? Sam Laporta, definitely, that's the one up for the Detroit Lions. But the wide receiver 1A, I'm going with my man CeeDee Lamb.
Okay.
The difference to me, what should be the difference in this game, is the Cowboys defense. Overall, 7th defense, passing defense, 5th in the league. We know the rushing defense needs a little bit of work, obviously. But the Lions have the 23rd ranked pass defense in the entire NFL right now. So for me, defense, advantage goes to the Cowboys. Before I get to the history on the line, and before we pick this game, I kind of want to know where you're going with this. I laid out the nuggets. This was like a nugget feast. We had about a good two boxes of 50-piece nuggets up here right now to let you try to figure out where you want to go with this. I don't want you, trying to burn out the flowers, trying to get a pile of manure and burn it and knock on the door and run. I want you to give these Cowboys fans their grace, but as well, get the Lions fans their grace as well.
I mean, you almost have, I have a score written down already. You kind of maybe lean maybe a little bit off of that. I don't think I'm going to change it, right? But you almost had me, okay? You definitely laid out the nuggets. I feel like we're at this really long marble table, and there's like a model laying on top of the table, and it's just nuggets all over her naked body, and just like sweet and sour sauce.
You tried to get freaky with it.
Barbecue sauce all over the place. Yeah,
you hear this man, Josie? You hear this man? To me, it was more like when you get like a kind of like gourmet McDonald's. It's like you got a big party, right? We laid out like 10 Happy Meals. We got the 2 boxes of 50-piece nuggets.
The silver dome on
right,
top
we
of it.
poured it off as a quarter pounder underneath with cheese. Yeah,
Listen,
pickles, no mustard. You know how that goes.
No pickles in this party. But big shout out to the Detroit Lions for winning that NFC Central. That's a big step for them in that franchise moving forward, obviously. Listen, this game is in Dallas, and I think I've only picked 2 Dallas games wrong all year long. Okay, just want to throw that out there. Now, last couple of weeks, I've been mentioning about how, they're playing these tough competition, these tough matchups, and they're on the road. It's hard for me to pick Dallas. Like, I almost feel like in both of the last 2 games, I said, if this game was in Dallas, I probably would have picked Dallas, right? But for me, do you think, when was the last time 2 running backs went for over 1,000 yards? Like, it's possible that both of those running backs can go for 1,000, right?
Yeah, for sure. 2 games left. I mean, it'll be tough, but I think they could get there.
Gibbs, I think Montgomery can probably get 90 and 2, but I mean, that's gonna be something that I think is clear and evident and obvious to most of us who watch football on a day-to-day basis, right? Detroit's rushing game versus Dallas. Detroit is the number 3 rushing team in the National Football League, averaging 141.1 yards per game. It's crazy. So for me, obviously, there's going to be a couple of matchups, and I haven't really dug into these numbers as much as I love to, but I just haven't really had the need to in recent weeks. But we're going to go back to the old school, 3rd down and red zone. Detroit in the red zone, really good. 64.3% in the red zone, number 5 in the National Football League, okay? Dallas's red zone defense, 21st in the NFL, allowing 57.1% conversion rate in the red zone. So Dallas is going to have to find a way to – and Detroit's a team that will go for it on 4th down in the red zone. There's no doubt about it, We've seen Dan Campbell do some crazy things. I mean, he doesn't just chew off kneecaps. He really means it, okay? So
a revenge game for Dan Campbell, too. He played tight end for the Dallas Cowboys for a while there.
And 3rd down, Detroit Lions, the reason why – they are so good offensively. The reason why they're able to convert 3rd downs is obviously because of all of these.
I gotta highlight this before you move forward, though. Brother L said 8-9 season was your pick too, though.
You got me there. Listen, I will accept all of those shots, bullets. Okay, I will accept all of them.
That's a good one
with grace because I was wrong on a lot of things. I'm not going to lie. I was wrong. I was definitely wrong. But, okay, so 3rd down, Detroit is number 7 in the National Football League on 3rd down conversion at 43.6%. Dallas's defense, as good as they are, and I wonder how much of this has to do with their run defense in particular, right? Like I should have really dug in and see what the percentage of 3rd downs converted on the running the ball versus passing the ball on this Dallas defense. But Dallas has the 20th ranked 3rd down defense in the National Football League. To me, if you're going to be obviously like elite defenses, turn the ball over, low scoring allowed, but like third down is so important to me defensively. You would think that Dallas was better than that on third down. So
Yeah,
that is too dramatically, Awthentik gave you guys, the positions, one team or the other. These are like very opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to Detroit and Dallas when you're talking about red zone and third down defense. So that's kind of what I'm going to be honed in on, because I do think that this game is going to be very close. I don't know if there's something else you want to lay out on the line history-wise before I give you my score. You let me know, or do you want my score
No,
now?
I just got
fans?
a little closing remark here, but there is some history on the line here. CeeDee Lamb with 3 receptions. CeeDee Lamb can break Michael Irvin's franchise record of 111 receptions. With the touchdown, CeeDee Lamb will become the first Cowboys player ever to have 8 touchdown receptions in 8 straight games. His streak right now of 7 straight games with the touchdown is tied with Des Bryant and Terrell Owens. And Micah Parsons, he's been clawing trying to get this last half a sack to become the 5th player since 1982 with at least 40 in his first 3 seasons. So a lot of history on the line. I'll give you my pick and see if this helps you lean a little bit towards, your pick here. When I look at the Detroit Lions schedule and the teams they have played and the teams they have beat, okay, their wins came against the Chiefs opening day, Thursday night. That was a very impressive win, but we've seen the Chiefs have kind of came back down to earth a little bit, lacking, wide receiver talent over there for sure. Outside of that win, they have wins against the Falcons, the Packers, the Panthers, the Bucks, the Raiders, the Chargers, the Bears, the Saints, the Broncos, and the Vikings. Those are a lot of bad teams, right?
So they're like the Dallas Cowboys.
No, I think they're worse, and I'm going to tell you why. Dallas Cowboys don't have this many losses, I think, to these poor of teams. They have the one against Arizona, but all their other losses came against
really good teams.
Good teams. The Detroit Lions have a loss to the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers. They also lost to the Seattle Seahawks. So to me, that says that when they play teams that are equal or above their talent, they don't show up as well. And that's what's going to lean me towards picking the Dallas Cowboys. That and the Dallas Cowboys being at home with these home streaks and all these home records and points scored on the line here, I got to go with the Dallas Cowboys. And honestly, I don't think it's going to be a close game. I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to win this one by at least a touchdown. They're favored by how much in this one? They're favored by 6?
The last line was 5.5.
5.5? Yeah, I think Dallas covers. I think Dallas is going to cover the 5.5. And the over-under, I think we're just barely not going to get there. I'm going to go 29-21 Dallas Cowboys.
Ain't nothing like some good old home cooking. Brother L said, we ain't beat nobody, bowl, part due.
Part due. Hot shots. Good movie. Good movie.
I almost got swayed, but I'm going to stick to my pick. I am also going to take the Dallas Cowboys to win this game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If this game was this,
well,
is
I mean,
the thing,
I wasn't swaying you towards the Lions, bro. You
I know
just
you
pulled the play action right there.
You weren't swaying me towards the Lions, but some of the things that you were saying made me be like, I don't know, man. The Detroit Lions got some playmakers on that team. You know, it's a good team, and I think that you made a good point that they're both so evenly matched in this game, but. For me, and the one thing that kind of almost made me go the Lions was, okay, so the Dallas at home thing. It's just, I feel like, in the matchups like this, I want to give Dallas the advantage because they earned that from me by the way that they play at home, right? It's not just home field advantage. They've proven it by the way that they play at home. They deserve to have that sort of stigma, that sort of anointment of that because of the way they've performed. Yeah. But then I was like, the one thing is like Detroit in Dallas, like it's not like a different sort of atmosphere. Like Detroit thrives in that sort of dome, turf atmosphere sort of situation with the way that they play football. So that's what made me think it was going to be a little bit closer. But I do feel like there's a possibility that Dallas comes out here and blows them out. I don't want to, because we've seen the Lions, particularly against the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the big difference on that game was it wasn't Baltimore, and it was, I believe it was bad weather, but we saw them get destroyed in that game early by Baltimore. So I wouldn't be
score
surprised.
at all till the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happens, but I'm going to stick with my gut and say this is a close game. I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys 27-24.
I like it. I do think if one team runs away with this game, it will be the Dallas Cowboys. Last time I said that, the Dallas Cowboys got blown out, though. So you never know what's going to happen here. Detroit, I do think, my homie Bass in the Spaces today, he said a good point. He was like, the Dallas Cowboys, like when they don't score on the first drive, you can bet they're going to score on that next drive, right? And I think that hurt them last week. They had that long drive, 10 plays, got all the way down to the 2-yard line, and then Dak Prescott hands the ball off to the fullback, and he fumbles the ball. They need that early start in this game, get momentum, make the Detroit Lions more predictable, one-dimensional, force them to throw the ball a lot more in the second half and late in the first half, and I think the Dallas Cowboys will run away with this one.
Gonna be a fun one. Only game on Saturday, too.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Big shout-out to our guy, McGinnis, in the building. The
What's
king
up, fam?
of the OC with a $9.99 cents super chat. Says, scratched and clawed my way to my fantasy championship game. I need golf to have a career game. He sent me the matchup. He asked me a couple of questions. Said he was going to pop in today, so appreciate that, McGinnis. Shout out to everybody who is an Awthentik and the Beard fam-a-lam, who is in their their championship games this week. Because I know that there's a lot of people that have said, hey, I'm in the championship. So Sunday is going to be a celebration parlay for all of those who made it this far and they're in the championship game. So shout out to McGinnis and shout out to everybody else here that made the championship game.
Yeah, big shout out to y'all, man. Best of luck in y'all fantasy this week too, man. I've been ousted one time, man. First round exit, man. I'm feeling kind of salty, but now I know next year how to kind of approach things. I missed on a first round pick with Travis Kelce. That was my biggest reach of the draft, and I think that hurt me all year long. But definitely best of luck to all of y'all. Let's keep this moving, man. Let's go right into this, man, and talk about my New York Giants welcoming the Rams, the red-hot Los Angeles Rams, to MetLife.
Giants are on the board with 11:16 to go here in the third.
All right, y'all. This one can get ugly, but I am feeling a little bit hype. My man Tyrod Taylor got named the starter. Brian Daboll has been being extremely bipolar as far as committing to development of players or whether committing to the W's. I don't know what they're doing in New York right now, but the Rams are sitting at 8-7, headed up to MetLife to take on the 5-10 New York Giants. Kickoff is Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Opening line got the Rams favored by 6.5. Last meeting, the Rams beat the Giants 38-11. That was in 2021. They went on to win the Super Bowl that year. Last week, the Rams beat the Saints 30-22, and the Giants lost to the Philadelphia Eagles 33-25. Rams are coming off 10 days rest. Thursday Night Football win versus the New Orleans Saints. And the Rams have won the last 3 meetings versus the New York Giants. The Giants most recently won at home in 2011. That Rams team finished 2-14. That is not a good look. The Rams are 5-1 since their bye week, and the Rams' only loss came to Lamar Jackson and the Ravens in overtime since their bye week here. The Rams can clinch a playoff berth with a win and either a loss by the Seattle Seahawks or tie between the Vikings and the Packers. Now, there are a couple of matchups I want to talk about before I kick this over to the Beard for a little bit here. The most worrisome matchup for me is the Giants' rush defense versus former Notre Dame running back Kyren Williams. This dude, 3 straight games over 100 yards rushing, has over 100 yards in 6 of his last 8 games. That's got to be the most impressive performance across the entire NFL. In 3 of those games, he had over 140 yards rushing. He has a touchdown in 5 of his last 8 games. Kyren Williams, right now, he's only one of 3 players to average 110 or more scrimmage yards per game. You want to take a stab at who the other 2 players are?
Tyreek Hill and is it a wide receiver or a running back?
I can't give you that.
I want to say Achane, but I think he had a couple of fall off games.
That would be fire if it was Achane, 2 players on the same team.
Yeah,
I like listen. I'm not. You already said it. We're not giving you another one. Who's your backup answer here?
Justin Jefferson.
Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, that was stupid. I should have known that.
That was an alley-oop for you, too. I was like, don't.
I was way overthinking that.
Yeah, man, most definitely. So the Giants' rush defense, they definitely got to show up. They're the 29th ranked rush defense in the league, and I think that number is a little bit like misleading a little bit. I think our rush defense is a little better than that, but it's all very dependent on how this offense plays. The play action is going to kill us if the Rams can get Kyron Williams going on the ground in this one. And Matthew Stafford has been balling out. Matthew Stafford, these numbers right here really surprised me. He has the lowest turnover-worthy play rate of his entire career. The entire year, he has 9 turnover-worthy plays all year. He has 9 interceptions. So that goes to show you that all his interceptions are not coming from bad passes on his part. Right now, Matthew Stafford sitting on 23 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. Last time Stafford played New York, he was 22 of 28 for 251, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Stafford has a passer rating of at least 115 in 4 of his past 5 games versus the New York Giants. So you guys got to see this just a couple weeks back.
Oh, yeah.
He was 5-0 against the Washington Commanders, went up there and made that 6-0, no problem. He's got multiple passing touchdowns in 5 straight games. You know that's my favorite statistic of them all. I don't have to bring up why, right? I don't think I got to bring up why. Matthew Stafford has over 250 yards passing in 4 of his past 5 games, and a lot of that has to do with the weapons. You know, one of them being a surprise, one of them being a staple. Cooper Kupp right now has 4 games over 100 yards. He's only played in 9 games this year. Kupp had 9 receptions for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns in the last meeting versus the New York Giants. So I'm sure he's licking his chops getting ready for this matchup. And Puka has been playing some really good football this year as well. He's got 1,327 yards on the year, which is crazy for a rookie. 5 touchdowns as well. He's one of 5 rookies ever with 3 games over 150 yards receiving. And your boy, you called this one out a couple weeks back, man. Demarcus Robinson has made a major impact for the Rams. He has 4 straight games now with a touchdown. So Wink Martindale's going to have his hands full in this matchup. I think we got to limit the big plays. The Rams right now are 10th in the NFL as far as yak goes. And I think that it's very important that we wrap up. You don't want to get one of those games from the New York Giants where they're missing tackles. And I think that, you know, on our defense, it's been inconsistent, but Bobby Okereke and Xavier McKinney have been playing really good football. And the crazy part about it is they've played every defensive snap for the New York Giants this year, which is that's just absolutely ridiculous. They each had 10 tackles against the Philadelphia Eagles last week. They're both over 100 tackles on the season. Bobby Okereke is over 130. So this defense, we need one of those, we don't need one of those regular performances. We need one of those lights out performances going up against the Rams this week, man. Very high potent offense. What do you see in this matchup?
A lot of what you said is kind of where my notes are leading. You know, the Rams, it's interesting because going into the season, right? Like, you know, I'm a big Cam Akers guy. Obviously, I loved Kyron Williams, and I thought it was a great fit for him when he landed in LA. And things just didn't work out for Cam. You kind of saw that coming. And then, you know, you had Cooper Kupp. But it was just kind of like everybody was just like, but where is everything else going to, come into place? And Stafford, you know, we talked a little bit about Stafford on the last show about how, you know, the Calvin Johnson broke the single season, you know, receiving record with Matt Stafford. Cooper Kupp broke that record with Matt Stafford. Puka's about ready.
Cooper Kupp got the Triple Crown, right? He didn't break Johnson's record, I don't think.
I think he did. Yeah.
I thought Tyreek Hill was going this year to break Calvin Johnson's record. I might be wrong, though.
Yeah. So then Coop got that record, and then Puka is trying to become, you know, break the receiving yards record as a rookie. So it's like, and all those guys doing it with Matthew Stafford. It just, you know, I feel like I always have to reiterate that sometimes. But the weapons against the Giants defense, and I think the way you ended it is the best way put. Like, it has to be one of those, you know, the Giants defense against the Miami Dolphins early on in that game. You know, like, you got to get to the quarterback, force some turnovers, flip the field sort of situation. It's going to be tough because there's just so many weapons on that Rams offense. And it doesn't really sound like the big name weapons. But, I mean, even like you said, with Robinson stepping up, with Tutu being out, and then Puka and Kupp, and then Kyron Williams. And then, you know, they can bring in Royce Freeman, Darrell Henderson. They're tough backs too, you know, if they need to get some tough yards.
Royce Freeman.
Yeah, good old Royce Freeman. Still, you know, busting heads around the league. But one of the other things that kind of stood out to me is how good this Rams offense is with just, you know, Kyron Williams, who was you know, middle of the pack pick, Puka, and then Cooper Kupp, and then Matthew Stafford. So not your ideal guys, right? But, you know, solid and proven to be better than solid now. Top 10 offense. Top 10 offense. Number 10 passing offense in yards per game, averaging 241.9. Number 10 rushing offense in the league, averaging 122.1 yards per game. So this is a top 10 offense that the Giants are going to have to face and try and find a way to stop, right? But when we talk about the Giants defense, it's something that they're going to have to do, and we're kind of been, looking for some Thibodeau action here, right?
Yeah, been quiet.
It is getting to the quarterback, because we've seen where when Matthew Stafford historically makes some bad decisions at times or forces it or has those moments, it's when he's under pressure. It's not all the time, because we've also seen Matthew Stafford perform pretty well under pressure, because he's been under pressure for a majority of his career before in Detroit and sometimes here in LA. But the Rams have allowed the 4th fewest sacks in the NFL. They've only allowed 28 sacks all year long. Like, the Giants have allowed, 70 sacks this year, I think it was?
Yeah, most in the NFL as far as a team goes, yeah.
70 sacks. So it's kind of like, it's two opposite ends here. So the Giants are going to have to find a way to disrupt it. And what the Rams do, they're going to get rid of the ball quick. It's going to be a lot of that sort of stuff. Not a lot of like long developing plays, a lot of slants, stuff like that. So, the Giants just have to be on their toes. I'd imagine that you're going to see a lot of blitzes too, outside of the normal blitz, happy situation. But I think they're going to try and throw the kitchen sink at Stafford and these Rams. And it'll be interesting to see how the Rams combat that, if they stick to the run game a little bit early on and keep things a little bit off balance. I do love Tyrod Taylor. I love the way that Tyrod Taylor plays football, and his career path has been kind of unfortunate to watch. But I saw a couple of people saying it in the chat, and I do think that he'll put up a good game. But him and Saquon, like, they're the type of guys that they're gonna play on the field. They're gonna play football, right? Like, you don't ever have to kind of worry about those two guys like playing football. It'll just be interesting to see how contagious that'll be in this game. Unfortunately, I just think that the Rams are just, you said it too, and I put that in the description of the YouTube video today too, because I think we were just obviously on the same page. Red hot Rams. They're playing really good football. They remind me a lot of the way Tampa Bay's playing lately. I think there's a lot of parallels between those two teams. I do think that the Rams are going to come out on top of this game. Unfortunate for those of you that are rooting for a win, but fortunate for those of you that are rooting for the tank. I'm going to take the Los Angeles Rams to win this game by a score of 30-17.
I like it, and I see people in the chat was talking about the Cooper Kupp record. So he didn't break the yards record. I looked that up.
No?
Calvin Johnson still owns the record for most yards in a season in 2012. Kupp was like just a couple yards short, but he was the first like Triple Crown winner since Jerry Rice, I believe.
Did he break the reception record that year then?
I don't think so. And Puka, I saw somebody was asking when Puka was drafted. Puka was drafted in the 5th round. As far as the New York Giants go here, though, man, like I do think you got to get back to committing to the run. I've been saying this for 3 to 4 weeks straight, and they did a decent job of it last week. Saquon's got a decent amount of carries and whatnot. You got to commit, but everything was inside, last week. And I think that with going up against Aaron Donald, you're going to be forced to run the ball outside a little bit in this game. It's not going to be a lot of A-gap running. And we know Saquon is a major home run hitter type of running back. So I want them to commit to at least 16 carries for Saquon Barkley. I think that'll open up things for Tyrod Taylor in the passing game, open up this play action a little bit, and maybe the New York Giants can have a balanced type of game plan when all's said and done. I think that, going up against the Rams, it's a game that the Giants can win, but a lot of it's going to factor on this defense. Defense is going to have to step up, and I think that starts with the offense. I've been saying that for about 5 weeks now. When the offense has these terrible games, our defense cannot be out on that field and actually play to their potential. They need the offense to sustain drives and keep our defense off the field and be well rested. Now, the Rams secondary right now is extremely suspect. They got the 22nd ranked pass defense in the entire NFL, and they have a cornerback over there, Witherspoon, who has he's made some plays this year. He's got 3 interceptions on the year, but their young boy, Kobe Durant, he's the one that I think that the New York Giants need to attack. I talked about this a little bit in the spaces today with Bass and the rest of the gang and whatnot. What I'm kind of like, what's bothering me with the New York Giants attack, right? You're not seeing a lot of Darius Slayton and Jalen Hyatt on the field at the same time. And I think that those two guys with their speed and Darius Slayton being a guy that can catch passes underneath as well, I'd like to see them lined up on the same side a lot more. And also, now that you have Darren Waller back healthy, Darren Waller can take a lot of that short to intermediate stuff while those two guys stretch the field. And I think that will allow Saquon Barkley a little bit more space to run in the open as well. Spread this out a little bit. I feel like we've been being too predictable with our rushing attack, right? We're going right up the middle, A-gap type of running. We're even bringing in Mark Lewinsky as like an extra tight end on some of these packages and just being dead obvious, like, here we go, we're going to run it right at you. And it's just not successful. We saw 3 plays on 4th down on the same drive last week with Saquon Barkley, inside zone run play, that the 3rd time it was like, okay, enough. The Eagles were like, we're just going to stop this. And Reddick was not blocked, and he blew the play up. So commit to the run. It'll open up the pass when the Rams have this suspect secondary. And I think that'll have, like, Tyrod Taylor be able to, put this team on his back and maybe lead us to a victory if the defense can keep things close. Now, over the last 3 games, the Rams have the 3rd worst passing defense in the entire NFL. They're averaging almost 300 yards per game. And a PSA to Brian Dable, you have to scheme these wide receivers open, man. Get creative, man, okay? I need you to hustle and flow out here. I need you to get extremely creative, man, all right? Hyatt and Waller and Darius Slayton are very capable, right? We know with Paris Campbell, some of these other guys, Sterling Shepard, they've all been pushed to the back. They're barely getting snaps. But with the guys that have been out there, Wan'Dale Robinson included, I need to get these guys schemed open. My homie, and I see Antonio's in the chat today, and we talked about this in the spaces today as well. Like, these DBs are playing Jalen Hyatt 10, 12 yards off. But how many times do you see a quick wide receiver screen go to Jalen Hyatt? It's very rare. We've seen one this entire season. You're not seeing the quick stop route. You're not seeing the hot route like, hey, he's playing off. I'm just going to throw it to you out there, man. Go out there and make a play. So I want to see Brian Dable and Mike Kafka get more creative with this offense, right? And I think in return, the New York Giants could be in this game. Now, I'm not going to pick this game as a W for us. I'm not silly. The Rams are coming in hot, and I'm not saying that we are absolutely going to lose this game. It's not going to bother me one way or the other. These are very meaningless games. So before I pick my score here, I just want to talk about a little bit more history on the line because we're getting to the end of the season here, and there's a lot of history on the line here. Puka Nacua, he needs 9 receptions to break the NFL single-season record for receptions by a rookie. That was set by Jalen Waddle in 2021. He had 104. Puka also needs 147 more yards receiving to break the Rams record for the most receiving yards in a single season by a rookie. And Aaron Donald is definitely going to be trying to get after the quarterback and trying to make some plays here. He needs 2 TFLs to pass Julius Peppers for 3rd most all-time in NFL history. So, JMS, this is going to be a tough matchup for you. I don't know if you've ever seen Taken. Good luck, all right? I hope you are a man with a particular set of skills to go out here and go get your daughter because Aaron Donald's going to be out here definitely causing some problems. Julius Peppers has 175 TFLs in his career, and that's who Aaron Donald is trying to pass. Saquon has 2 games now to rack up 123 rushing yards to get to his 4th season with 1,000 rushing yards. He already cracked the 1,000 scrimmage yards last week. So, I'm rooting for Saquon. We had a lot of topics about Saquon today in the spaces as well, too. And I just think, this is a utilization thing. Again, Brian Dable, we saw it with Joe Judge. We saw it with Jason Garrett, trying to make Saquon Barkley a running back that he is not. And, I understand that you have to have players who can adjust to the scheme and the philosophy of your offense, but I think it is even more important to adjust to the players that you have on your roster. You guys decided to bring back Saquon Barkley. You got him signed on the franchise tag, then converted that into a 1-year deal. It's your responsibility to put him in position to make the best plays he can possibly make and also be the best player that he can be for the New York Giants so that we can go out here and try to win games. Saquon's been the identity. I hope they rely on him in this game. I'm taking the Rams to win this one. I think it'll be a little bit closer with Tyrod Taylor at quarterback than it would be with Tommy DeVito at quarterback. I think the New York Giants are going to score about 18 to 20 points. I'm going to take the lower number here. I'm going to take the Los Angeles Rams to win this one 28 to 18.
Not too far off. Not too far off there.
Yeah, not too far off. Brother L says, I wish y'all would use Barkley like Todd Gurley or Cam Akers. Yeah, early on in Cam Akers' year, they did a good job. For me, it's Kamara. I want to see them use him like Kamara. I want to see them use him similar to how they were using Austin Eckler in the earlier years. And pair him with a stronger running back. I think that's absolutely necessary. We had some big debates in the spaces today about it. Some people saying that they're just tired and they want to see just a change of scenery with Saquon Barkley. And I can't knock that, right? Because I feel like that about the quarterback position. I just want a new guy at the quarterback position, a fresh start. So I'm not mad at that. I'm about 50-50 as far as keeping Saquon going into next year. And I also think that, I really want to see Saquon Barkley be a winner. If it takes going to another team, I'm totally on board for that. No problem.
Gonna be interesting. That might be a position you guys look at in the draft.
Yeah, I think we should. You know, they addressed it with Eric Gray, and they addressed it a few years earlier with a late round, with Gary Brightwell. So it has not worked, and there have been some drafts out here. We were digging through drafts with running backs in rounds 2 through 3 and on to 4 and whatnot this today in the space as well. And like the 2017 draft, the amount of running backs that came out in the second and third round, it was absolutely ridiculous. I can't remember all the names off the top of my head, but I know it was like Kareem Hunt. It was CMC, I believe, was a second round pick as well. It was James Conner. It was like 2 or 3 other guys on that list too. So if you can find a draft like that, you know, if this is one of those, and you can go out there and get some running backs to kind of, you know, transition Saquon on his way out to another team, I think it will be a good look for the New York Giants.
Agree.
All right, let's get right to it, man. We got about a good 20 minutes left before we got to get y'all up out of here. We definitely got to talk about this game as much as the Beard probably don't want to talk about this one. The 49ers are traveling all the way from the other side of the country to take on the Washington Commanders. All right, man, the 49ers, these records here are polar opposite. The 49ers are 11-4, headed to FedEx Field to take on the 4-11 Commanders here. Kickoff is Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The opening line had the 49ers favored by 12.5. Good God. That is crazy right there. 49ers beat the Commanders in the last meeting, 37-20. That was just last season. Last week, 49ers lost to the Ravens, man, 33-19. Shout out to Lamar Jackson and them boys one time. Commanders lost to the Jets, 30-28. Reading that score almost feels like a typo because they were getting blown out that whole game, 27-0, I believe it was, early on in that one. This is the 4th meeting between the 49ers and Commanders over the past 5 seasons. First time San Francisco's traveling to FedEx Field since 2019. The 49ers can clinch the number 1 seed in the NFC and a first-round bye with a win and losses this weekend by the Eagles and the Lions. The Commanders have now lost 6 straight games, 7 of their last 8, 11 of their last 13. I mean, you might as well bookmark it and make it 12 of their last 14 because I don't see any way that they're going to win this game. This is a revenge game for a couple of players and a coach here. Trent Williams and Chase Young both headed back to FedEx Field for the first time. Revenge game for Kyle Shanahan, who was also on the coaching staff with the Washington Commanders, who still haven't found a coach, you know, till this day right now. He spent 4 seasons as the offensive coordinator from 2010 to 2013. I think that this is the perfect alley-oop game for Brock Purdy. Perfect get-right game, you know. Commanders have the 31st ranked pass defense in the league. Just allowed the Jets to put up 30 points on their head this past week. Commanders defense is dead last in yards allowed per game. They're allowing 384.3 yards per game. They're also allowing the most points per game in the NFL at 30.2. And Purdy is coming off a terrible game, his worst game as a San Francisco 49er, his worst game as a pro. 4 interceptions versus the Baltimore Ravens. Purdy does have 4,050 yards passing this year. He needs 229 yards to break the San Francisco 49ers single-season record for most passing yards. You want to take a stab at who has that record?
Joe Montana?
Joe
Young?
Montana? Nope. Steve
Jimmy
Young?
Garoppolo?
Nope. Jimmy Garoppolo? Nope.
I don't know.
You trying to think of other 49ers quarterbacks like Nick Mullins? Is it
That's
Nick
all
Mullins?
I was like, is it some jabroni like that? I don't know, man.
Look, man, this one really shocked me, man. It's Jeff Garcia.
Oh, good old Jeff Garcia.
Good old Jeff Garcia.
That was the good old days. Jeff Garcias and the Jake Delomes and stuff like that. We didn't have to worry
Delhomme had some good years over there with Carolina.
We didn't have to worry
for
about
sure.
the quarterback pressures we have today.
Yeah, it was definitely a different game. So he just needs 229 yards to set the San Francisco single-season record, which is that's incredible. Baltimore did snap Purdy's 3-game streak of multiple passing touchdowns in consecutive games before he threw those 4 interceptions. Purdy has 8 games with multiple passing touchdowns this year. And even with the 4 interceptions, Brandon Ayuk, man, he had a game last week. 6 receptions for 113 yards. This was his 6th game with 100 receiving yards in 2023. He has a career high 1,203 receiving yards this season. He's showing you that he's a wide receiver 1 right now, to be honest. I really think it's pick your poison on this one, man. It could be Debo, it could be Kittle, it could be CMC. I'm even going to go out here and go out on a limb, and I'm going to say Ronnie Bell gets into the end zone for his 2nd straight week because he scored last week versus the Baltimore Ravens in that blowout loss. But what's your thoughts on this game, man? There's a lot going on here. Jacoby Brissett was named the starter. Your boy Sam Howell sitting on that bench for the third consecutive week now because they put him on the bench twice in a row.
I guess, I'm so far beyond comprehending Ron Rivera at this point. I just, I stood on that hill with him for a long time.
You did. I've been calling for him to be fired for a few years now.
But, I eventually I grab a piece of cardboard, buddy, and I'm deuces. I'm down. I'm going down the hill,
Wait, what is the cardboard for?
Just, slide down the hill on.
Oh, okay. I'm sure I'm not the only one that know what you was talking about there with the cardboard.
Yeah, so
trash can lid. Are we talking about sledding here? What are we talking
exactly.
about?
There we go. You know how it is, man.
I didn't hear you say sledding.
This is a hill. When you see a hill, what do you think of? You think of sledding, right?
When I see a hill, I think about the hill I grew up on. I won't say the name, so you stalkers out there will go try and find out where I lived. But I lived on one of the steepest hills in the whole damn county. And one time we took a luggage rack and we took some trash can wheels. We somehow rigged up the trash can wheels to the front of the luggage rack, and we made our own go-kart and damn near killed ourselves on that. So that's what I think about with that.
A lot of fun times going down those streets, man.
Definitely.
Shout out Alvy C.
Shout out Alvy C one time.
we had the masking tape gauze to his back for a couple of falls.
Oh yeah, when he fell one time on a skateboard. Yeah, for sure. I don't know if you remember the time that we did, because Alvy C was into karate, right? And I remember when he became a black belt, I beat his ass in the basement. He thought he was some real deal when he became a black belt. But we took a lot of his karate belts and we cut them and made little slides for our feet on the skateboards and went snowboarding. We were doing 360s and all kind of stuff. Yeah, we was wild when we was creative. That's what I'll say when we was young.
Very creative. Yep. That's one thing I cannot say about this Washington Commanders team. Great segue. I expect Chase Young to have about 3 sacks in this game, probably.
I mean, he only got 2.5 since he got over there in 7 games.
But listen, he is going to be fired up. I am interested to kind of see what Jacoby Brissett does, though. This isn't like a last year with Wentz and Heineke, and we had a chance. We're eliminated, so it just makes everything really weird. So I guess I'm still kind of interested to see what Jacoby Brissett does. More so with the offense.
It's wild because we're in the same position. It's like we got quarterbacks on our roster that are veteran guys that we kind of know can play the game, but we're doing evaluation for guys who are probably not going to be on either roster next year.
It's just weird. Once again,
it's weird.
I don't know where to go with this. I mean, San Francisco's offense, they scored the 3rd most points in the National Football League at 29.6. As Awthentik said, Washington gives up the most points. That's 30.2 points per game that they're allowing. 30.2. And, I don't even know if B-Rob's going to play. And then we got a little spark, these last couple of weeks with Chris Rodriguez. But guess where he is? The IR. So his season is done. So I guess we'll get a little bit of a mixture of Gibson and Jonathan Williams.
Jonathan Williams. Y'all didn't bring back Patterson, did y'all?
No, he didn't make the roster.
I liked Patterson, too. He's a tough runner.
And I kind of feel like Jacoby's going to have to get rid of the ball. San Francisco 6th in the NFL in sacks this year with 45. They're number 2 in quarterback hits with 113. So it's gonna be tough sledding to bring this full circle. But I do have a little bit of a roadmap for victory for everybody, just to kind of keep this thing going.
All right, well, let's get to it. We got about a good 10 minutes before we got to get them out.
A quick one.
As long as you leave us 3 minutes. Leave us 3 minutes for that last game.
You're good.
All right, let's get to it.
Yeah, you still on the freeway. What? No, turn right. Get out of the lane. No. Okay, get position. Just get out the lane.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I should have gotten to the sound department earlier and had them change the beat for this roadmap. This is going to be a different bit of a roadmap. And I'm glad we had that conversation about the old neighborhood and LBC and in those times, because this roadmap leads back to the old hood. Okay, so the first stop on the roadmap to victory, it's going to be a little place on Georgia Avenue called St. John's. Okay, first stop, pull up to St. John's if you want to win this game, Commanders. Okay, second stop on the roadmap.
What does St. John's have to do with the stop?
That's the stop. St. John's is the first stop on the roadmap. Okay. Commanders field trip bus St. John's. Okay.
Everybody, all right, I'm gonna allow you to go. I'm gonna see where you're landing this plane because I'm lost. I ain't gonna lie.
Everybody off the bus. Okay.
Okay.
Grab a rosary. Second key to victory here is the rosary.
Okay, now it's making sense.
Okay. Second key to victory is the rosary. All right.
That plan landed so sketchy.
The third step, okay, after you get the rosary, you got to grab the candles, okay?
Okay.
Everybody has to have a candle and a rosary, all right? Up next on the roadmap to victory, prayers. Prayers to all the little sweet baby Jesuses that Will Ferrell has prayed to in Talladega Nights with the rosaries and the candles at St. John's. That is how the Commanders win this week against the San Francisco 49ers.
I got you. Yo, my cat is crazy. He just popped up right here, dog.
I saw your eyes do what it means.
He just popped up right here. Yo, what's up, man? So that's the roadmap.
That's
we
the
going to
roadmap.
church. We going to church. Sunday service. Kanye West.
Listen, I think they have time to do Monday to Sunday early mass and get back to FedEx in time for the game.
I like it.
Holy water, too. Thank you. I forgot to add that stop,
Definitely
Rich.
going to need some holy water. Yep.
So rosaries, candles, holy water, and Talladega Night baby Jesuses.
And prayers.
Right?
Prayers, most definitely.
You want to score?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take a score. Why not? Yo, dog, what is you doing?
Brother, hell.
Oh, man. Yo, that'd be, I looked through the Pico. I'm like, nah, cuz.
Oh, man. All right. San Francisco 49ers. 40. San Francisco 49ers 41. Washington Commanders 17.
All right. Hey, Cat, I'm going to need you to chill here now, okay? So, Jacoby Brissett, man, I'm excited about the start. I think that he can give you a little bit of change of pace and maybe score some points. How many points did you have for y'all?
17.
17. It's not too bad. I think Jacoby Brissett could get y'all past 20. He's done it in 2 weeks in the fourth quarter, back to back, right? You give him 4 quarters, might be able to contest and score some points here and keep up with those 49ers. I know that defense is really good. I think that the Washington Commanders are going to score over 20 in this game. I'm going to give y'all 24. And I think y'all are going to lose this one by 10. I'm going to go 34-24 in favor of the San Francisco 49ers. Now, Jacoby Brissett, in the 2 games that he came in for relief for Sam Howell, he's 18 of 23 for 224 yards, 3 touchdowns. Okay, passer rating over 130 in both games. In 48 career starts, he has 60 touchdowns and 22 interceptions. I think Jacoby Brissett, somebody got to put some respect on this man's name. He deserves to be a starter in this league. He's got 48 passing touchdowns and 12 rushing versus the 22 interceptions. He's got a passer rating of 85.2 in his career. Just to give you a little bit comparison and get ready, these shots are going to be boomerang shots coming right back at me and my gang.
Oh, okay.
In 59 starts, Daniel Jones has 63 turnovers and 62 touchdowns. So you're looking at a guy in Jacoby Brissett who in 48 starts has just about the same amount of touchdowns and only 22 interceptions. CMC is going to be the key. Y'all got to stop CMC in this game.
He's going to go for 200 scrimmage yards.
He's not going to go for 200. McCaffrey is tied for the NFL lead right now with 21 touchdowns and is 2 shy of tying Jerry Rice's franchise record of 23. That record dates all the way back to 1987. McCaffrey has at least 100 yards from scrimmage in a franchise record 8 games in a row. He needs 68 yards this week for the 5th 2,000-yard season in 49ers history. So he will be running with some extra emphasis for sure. I still think Jacoby Brissett, I've been saying this for a while with you guys that y'all are going to go out here and put up some points, man. And with Sam Howell at the quarterback position, y'all just have not done that. I think this might be the week where y'all get over 20. I'm going to say somewhere between 21 and 24, but I will take the 49ers 34-24 in this matchup. Let's get right to it.
We can call him Jacoby Respect instead of Jacoby Brissett.
I like that. It's a little bit of a reach on the rhyme there, but I think it's a Wale type rhyme. Brissett Respect. It's one of them kind of. I like that.
Say it with a little swag. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got to say it with a little twist. I've seen people reach on rhymes like that plenty of times. Plenty of times. But let's get them up out of here, man. Before we do that, let's get right into this Thursday night football matchup one time. Man, I want to pat myself on the back for the preparation of tonight's show. Some good nuggets, just some good nuggets, right? And the party's over, and we just found an extra batch of nuggets that just showed up, okay? The Jets are taking on the Browns tonight, okay? The Jets are 6-9. The Browns are sitting at 10-5, surprisingly, man. Kickoff is at 8:15 on Amazon Prime. Make sure to turn your TVs on Prime Vision. That is the way. And you tell them Awthentik sent you. We need that plug. We need a little bit of sponsor from Mr. Jeff Bezos himself. Last week, the Browns beat the Texans 36-22. The Jets beat the Commanders 30-28. In the last meeting between these two teams, the Jets beat the Browns 31-30. I don't know if you remember that game. It was the game where Nick Chubb didn't go down on the left sideline. He ended up scoring a touchdown. The Browns were up by 2 scores with like a minute 30 left in that game, and they ended up losing that one. The Jets ended up beating them 31-30 in last-minute fashion there. Now, the Jets, they had lost 6 of their last 7 before beating the Commanders this past week. The Jets have won 7 of the past 9 matchups against the Browns. The Browns, man, this dates back to the Browns when they was the terrible Browns. They ended a 19-game losing streak versus the Jets in 2020. So that's how,
That was a prime-time Baker game, right?
I'm not even sure. I think it was the game. No, that one was in 2022. I don't know if it was a primetime Baker game. I'm not too sure, to be honest, but it was in 2020. And if the Jets lose, this will be their 4th straight season with double-digit losses. So Saleh, hot seat, is definitely getting warm one time. The Browns have won 10 or more games for just the 3rd time since 2000. Okay, this is a bad franchise, and they're starting to turn the curve here with a bunch of banged-up quarterbacks. They found a way with Joe Flacco. Versus the Commanders last week, Trevor Siemian snapped a personal 6-game losing streak dating back to 2017. Now, with a win or a tie, the Browns will clinch just their 2nd playoff berth since 2002. All right, this is a bad team that's just starting to get right. The Jets, this might be, I got 2 nuggets that might be the best ones of the show. The Jets right now, they have not allowed a 300-yard passer in 33 consecutive games. It's the longest streak right now in the NFL. The Browns right now, 7-1 at home. So they have a great record at home. On the road's been a little bit different. But Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski, he's 0-6 against the AFC East. He's trying to get his first win. The Browns were held to just 54 yards rushing on 30 carries last week. So they absolutely got to get this running game clicking. And New York is the league's most penalized team right now with 111 penalties, including 14 last week against your Commanders.
Last week was crazy.
That's absolutely ridiculous. Now, Breece Hall definitely got it going last week. First Jets player to have 70 rushing, 70 receiving, and 2 touchdowns ever. That's never happened for a Jets player. He's the first guy to do that. 20 rushes for 95 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4.8 yards per carry. He had 12 receptions. This dude's out here looking like a wide receiver. He had 96 yards on 12 receptions, 16 targets. Okay, so when you have good weapons, I don't care who's playing quarterback. You absolutely, if you're a smart quarterback, you're going to go out there and target your wide receivers and your pass catchers who are going to make plays. So for guys like Tommy DeVito, there's no excuse to have my guy Jalen Hyatt getting 0 targets last week and 0 yards, 0 receptions. I can't have that. We got this guy, Trevor Siemian, coming off the couch, targeting a running back 16 times. Breece Hall totaled 191 yards from scrimmage last week. He leads all running backs with at least 5 receptions in 6 of his last 7 games. His yards per catch is number 1 in the NFL right now of all running backs as well. Breece Hall had 54 yards less than the Commanders' entire offense last week. Now, I want to talk a little bit about Amari Cooper, just real quickly, who's ruled out this game, the Beard told me before, but he had 265 yards receiving last week versus Houston. Cooper also became the first player in team history with back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. Just think about that. The Browns have never had a receiver go back-to-back 1,000 yards. It's ridiculous. Now, let's talk about him right now. Mr. Joe Flacco, okay? That's
cool,
him.
baby.
And I'm about to, I saw you kind of give me that look like, huh?
I was waiting to see who it was.
Joe Flacco is him right now. And this is a revenge game for Joe Flacco against a team that did not bring him back when quarterbacks decided to get hurt out there on the field. When Aaron Rodgers went down first series of the season, they did not bring him back, and he's a very capable quarterback. Joe Flacco got 10 touchdowns in 4 games right now, 1,307 yards. He's first in touchdowns since he entered the league right now in week 13, and he's first in yards across the league, okay? So we got to put some respect on Joe Flacco's name. And tonight, Joe Flacco can become the first player in NFL history to throw for at least 250 passing yards and 2 touchdowns in each of his first 5 games with the team. That has never been done. So tonight, I'm rooting for Joe Flacco. That's who I'm going for. I'm big time rooting for Joe Flacco. I hope the Browns go out here and handle business accordingly and just really just dog walk these New York Jets, because the New York Jets don't belong to be in the conversation with the Browns right now, sitting at 10 wins right now. I hope the Browns can get this W and stride their way into the playoffs and possibly get a playoff win, their first playoff win since Baker Mayfield was over there. They did him a little bit dirty as well. But I'm big time rooting for Joe Flacco. I'm taking the Browns in this one. I'm going to go 27-9 in favor of the Cleveland Browns.
I'm right there with you. I think Joe Flacco actually does that. I think he goes, I don't know if he gets to 250. I'm going to say he gets to 250, though. 250, it'll get 253 and 2 touchdowns today. I'm going to put it right just like that. He does get there. Listen, Kevin Stefanski should be he probably won't be, but he should be in consideration for Coach of the Year.
He's in consideration for sure.
All of the things that have gone wrong with that team as far as injuries go. I mean, I know every team deals with injuries, but I mean, multiple quarterbacks, Nick Chubb, some guys on the defensive side of the ball, and they just manage to always find a way to be in a game. And I think as a fan, that's one of the things that you really want from your team. Like, you just want to feel like you always have a chance. You know what I'm saying? The New York Jets and Saleh, I think Saleh should not be in a hot seat. I think he's a good coach. I think he's also had a lot to deal with. It's going to be interesting to see what direction they go moving forward.
4 straight years, bro. 4 straight years, double-digit losses.
When you said that, I was like,
I think that's default hot seat.
Yeah, I think you are right. You are. That's why I said I don't think he should be, but default hot seat for sure. I'll give you that. You can't. Like, when you said that number, it made me really think for a second. Like, damn. And I started thinking, like, they've had Zach Wilson there for what, 3 years now? It's been Zach Wilson experiment.
Yeah, I believe this was his 3rd year.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and then we had a lot of high hopes for the Jets. Everybody thought the Jets was going to be a Super Bowl contender with Aaron Rodgers. Are they a quarterback away from being there? I would like
a couple other pieces.
Yeah, couple other pieces.
They need another wide receiver over there because it's Garrett Wilson and nothing else.
Yeah, I mean you brought in a couple of guys that were like Aaron Rodgers guys, like Alan Lazard and stuff like that. But
Randall
Cobb. It'll be interesting to see how Breece Hall performs against his Cleveland defense, though. For me, a lot of he coming off of that game, it was against the Commanders. The game before that, he had like 12 rushing yards and 6 receiving yards. So it'll be interesting to see how the Jets perform against the Cleveland Browns defense. I also expect the Cleveland Browns to win this game. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do 23-9 Cleveland.
Oh, you like the 9 for the Jets, the 3 field goals.
I was thinking about maybe doing like a 12 or like a 5 or something like that, but yeah, I like the 9. It's probably maybe a safety and a touchdown. You never know. The Jets and the Browns get together. You just don't know what to expect. It could be a 6-3 game. It could be a 31-30 game. You just don't know.
I won't go 31-30. I don't see the Jets. The Jets have scored 30 points just twice this year, and once was against y'all. Y'all defense is just terrible. The Browns defense is really good. That's one of the best defenses in the league right now.
Last time we said it couldn't happen, Aiden O'Connell was throwing 4 touchdowns, and it was like that game. What was it? It was a couple of games like that.
Raiders, Patriots, but that was 2 bad teams. Yeah. 2 bad teams. This is kind of like 1 bad team, one good team that's struggling at the quarterback position, but Joe Flacco coming in doing his thing. So I don't expect it to be too high scoring, at least competitive and high scoring. I think the Browns are going to – I'd like to see if anybody has scored 30 points on the Browns this year. I'll check it when we get off air, but big shout out to everybody, man, for pulling up, man. This was definitely a vibe. had to kind of fly through these games. Y'all know how it is on Thursday nights when we have 5 games. It definitely, forces us to kind of cram things into the, each little segment there and whatnot. But big shout out to all of y'all, man. We appreciate y'all pulling up, rocking out with us one more time on Awthentik and the Beard, man. We got so many episodes in the bag right now. I'm really looking forward to the off season. And as far as tonight, I hope y'all got some fantasy players in this game, man. I hope y'all do well in fantasy. I know the ones of y'all that are left, y'all must be in championships. So big shout out to all of y'all, man. I hope y'all go out there, bring home a W for the AATB fam one time. We definitely like that. All the people that have been tagging us on Twitter being like, yo, man, you helped me get to this, help me get to that. We definitely appreciate that, man. Whatever we can do, y'all helped us out too, man. Y'all know how this works, man. It's all family over here at Awthentik and the Beard. And we'll get y'all up out of here, man. Kickoff is probably starting right now. Y'all know how we end every show over here, man. Keep raising that bar. Keep living those dreams because the universe flows in Technicolor and surround sound. Rest in peace to the podcast GOAT, Combat Jack, one time. I'm up here feeling like Dr. Evil, man. I'm just petting this cat. You see his little ears peeking up right there. See if I can sneak him in here real quick. Look at this big guy. Hey, all right, he scratched the hell out of me. But y'all be good, man. Enjoy the rest of y'all evening. Enjoy y'all Thursday night football. We'll catch y'all Sunday morning for the last parlay episode of the year, man. Y'all be good. Peace.
Spike don't care.